Do you currently struggle with your client onboarding? Maybe you don't have the time to onboard new leads and clients. Maybe you have a process in place, but you know it's not the best and it could be better. And maybe you just don't have the time to improve it. Or maybe you have absolutely nothing in your business and you know that's a big gap that you need to do something about. Whatever it is, I want you to know that it's okay, and everyone has to start somewhere. So we are here today, Ashley and I'm Katie, to help you understand how you can better streamline your onboarding process for your accounting firm. And whether you are a solopreneur, whether you have a team, whether you are a seasoned, experienced TaxDome user, or if you've never used it or aren't even sure if you want to use it, this training is going to be for you, because we're going to talk about all the things that you need to know when it comes to onboarding those leads so you can get them into your client books as soon as possible, and you can do everything, streamlined, efficient, so they're going to feel really good about the process, and ultimately it's going to be less time for you and hopefully more money for your business, and you're going to feel really good about it too. So again, my name is Katie Toscano. I'm going to introduce Ashley and I in just a second here, but today we're here to talk about how you can streamline your client onboarding and really master the onboarding pipelines and automations inside TaxDome to really, really help your business out. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Why are we even talking about this? We're going to talk about the reason you need to know, or the reasons you need to really streamline that onboarding, and specifically we're going to talk about TaxDome and some of the benefits for you inside TaxDome that we don't typically see in a lot of systems, or we just like it better in TaxDome. Number 3, we're going to talk about best practices when it comes to onboarding your clients, onboarding your leads, and how you can use those best practices in play inside of a system like TaxDome. But some of those things, most of those things can be used in any system. So we're going to talk about those best practices. We're going to talk about actually automating and building your actual pipeline, your automations, and building that process. And then finally, we're going to do a demonstration behind the scenes in TaxDome. We're going to show you our own pipeline and the automations that we use in there, and we're going to show you the tools that we use to help us get there. So with that, let's go ahead and dive into a quick introduction. So that's me. I'm Katie on the right here, and Ashley on the left, and we are here today to really walk you through all these things so you feel good leaving this training knowing that you have the right tools, the right next steps in place to help you begin to build out or even just optimize your onboarding process. So again, you can get those things, those clients, those leads moving quickly and get them into your firm. So Ashley and I have known each other for probably 15 years at this point. We worked together in the corporate world in accounting, where we worked both as accountants as well as helping the accountants to implement systems. So our entire background is all about accounting and systems, and we've been doing it for 15 plus years. We joined together a couple of years ago to work with accountants because we know that world, and we really want to help you to develop better systems, to develop better processes so you aren't constantly in the weeds of your business every single day. We want you to avoid burnout. We want you to have a great business that you actually enjoy doing. We both live in Southern California in Orange County. Ashley has 3 kids and a new puppy, and I have 2 kids and a slightly older puppy. He's an average age dog, I guess now. And we're great friends, and we love working together, and we love working with our clients. So that is us. Ashley will be on in a minute here, and she'll be sharing some cool things with you guys as well. I love a good meme. So when you hear the value automation can bring, like Ashley and I are kind of nerds about it, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that's because when we first started our business, this is an area that we were lacking in. Funny because yes, we've been working with systems and automation for over a decade now, but we felt that pain. We brought on a lot of clients really quickly, and it was a huge, huge struggle for us because while we maybe were doing that for others, we didn't do it for ourselves. So we went through the same process that we're going to walk you through today, and we went through the same pain points. We've been where you've been, but we know how game-changing it can be. So now, not only are we excited about our onboarding, but everything when it comes to automation and adding value in that space, we get so excited because we know how transformative it is and how uncomplicated it is. Because I think a lot of people hear automation and they get nervous or they feel ill-equipped to put it into play. And what I want to assure you of is that's not necessarily the case. Could you maybe use some help along the way? Of course. But you have a business, you do a million things, you are fully capable of doing this as well. So don't be intimidated. You're going to feel just like Ashley and I pretty soon here if you don't already. Okay, so who cares about onboarding, right? Whether you have one a month, whether you have 20 a month, whether you have one a year, being able to create any process and maybe automate it or even just make it a really clear, consistent process is a huge game changer. You're going to be able to create consistency in your business. It's going to make you feel really good when you have that. But that's going to help you have time savings. You're not reinventing the wheel every single time you onboard a new client. You're going to make your clients feel really good because you know what you're doing or your leads, right? You're giving them this great experience from the get-go, and it makes you come across as very confident, very in charge. You know how to run things. They run smoothly. So it's going to give them that great experience. They're going to get things that they need quickly, and they're going to give you what they need quickly in return. So it does help you to ultimately close leads faster. I put sanity in there because for myself, for sure, I know that I was not feeling sane for a little while in our business. I feel sane again. So it does give you that sanity, and it really helps you create a repeatable process both for you, but also if you have a team. So no matter who's doing this process in your team or how frequent it is, you have a process that's repeated over and over, and it's going to help you reduce those errors, give you that time savings, help you close those leads faster, and give that better experience for your team as well as your leads or clients, across the board. And you're going to feel good about it too. And what we love about creating this, consistent automated process is there's always room for improvement. There's new things that come out, or you notice something here or something there, or you get feedback. But you create this process and then you review it and you make tweaks and you make changes, but you're not starting from scratch. You have it and it's nicely packaged, and then you just make your tweaks here and there, constantly improving, but it doesn't have to be this big drawn out process every time. So we are TaxDome consultants, so verified TaxDome consultants, which means we really, really know the system. We work in it every single day, and our goal is to help you understand it better. Because I know anytime you start a new system, it's like, okay, where do I start? How's this going to help me? I'm just going to do the easy part and I'll save this for later. Well, you maybe have already done that, or maybe you're brand new to it or considering it. You don't have to save it for later. You can actually get started on it now. If you're a tax preparer, especially, now's a great time, because getting this in place before tax season, before the holidays, all that is going to really help you as you're starting to maybe meet new people and network, whether you're a tax preparer, bookkeeper, enrolled agent, whatever you are in the accounting world. Doing this now is going to help you because it's going to really make that professional appearance to all of those new leads as you encounter them, over summer vacation or at a networking event. So we love TaxDome because, one, it has so much in one system. You can save a ton of money because you don't need 10 million systems. You can really simplify it with having a lot of this inside of TaxDome. I love the automation options and the simplification of them. So being able to put them all into a single pipeline is just huge. And we'll talk about pipelines a little bit more in a minute, but basically a pipeline is just your automated process. It doesn't mean every single thing is automated, but it's just your A to Z process inside of TaxDome. And speaking of the pipeline, I love the ability to track where you're at in a process in a very, a great image, a great easy way to look at it and see exactly where you're at. I love the secure portal that is inside TaxDome, knowing that your leads or your clients can give you information and they'll feel comfortable knowing that it is secure. I love the ability to kickstart this whole process in a self-service way, meaning new leads can come in, click a link, and they're kickstarted in automation immediately. And I'll show you that in a second too. And then lastly, the specific key automations inside TaxDome, I'm going to get to them in a minute. They're great. They're this exact simple things that you need to onboard those clients quickly and to get it all done and to make you feel like you've given that great service. So I'm going to show that right here. So specifically to onboarding, there's a ton of different automations in TaxDome. You might use all of them, you might use a handful of them, but when it comes to transforming your onboarding process, these are some of the key features that you're going to want to get comfortable with and you're going to want to understand. TaxDome has the ability to send proposals. It has the ability to send out your contracts or engagement letters, your invoices, whether they're recurring or deposits or whatever the case may be. Custom, you can send those invoices. The folder templates that you can go to save core documents, or maybe even you want to give out core documents to all of your clients. I love the ability to have those templates that you can apply and give to everybody. Email templates, task templates, message templates. Templates are amazing. Anytime you don't have to recreate and write up an email just from scratch every single time, that really adds up over time. So to be able to not only just create the templates and save them in TaxDome, but also to be able to automate them so that you can send them out without having to overthink it and giving that great customer service and personalization at the same time. The e-signature feature is huge because to be able to just get things e-signed and not need another system for that is great. And then task tracking. You can track your own tasks, your teams, you can see where everyone's at, see where all the things are for your clients. You can also give your clients tasks as well. All those things are really great to be able to just simplify this process internally and then again make it great for your clients or leads too. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit here. I want to talk about maybe the elephant in the room. So we hear from a lot of people that they are scared of automation because they are worried it's going to lose the personalization. And I want to dispel that myth briefly because that is not the case. There are so many ways that you can make it not just personalized to your client, but also feel personalized to you as well. And so what this slide is going into is there are best practices when it comes to onboarding your leads and turning them into clients that you're going to want to have in your business, regardless if you're using TaxDome, if you're using something else, if you're doing it pen and paper. These are the things that you're going to want to do to give that great experience to those leads. So they want to come back, they want to join your firm, they want to be part of it. And again, we talked a little bit about the personalization, but it's so important that you do personalize it, whether or not you have meetings with every lead or whether or not you don't, whether you send personalized proposals. It doesn't matter which way you do it, but you do need to have a personalized experience. And so there are ways in TaxDome that you really do get to do that. And it allows it to feel like it's, your personality, it's coming from you, and it's very clear, that it's for whatever client, their name, etc. So important to have that personalized onboarding experience. We briefly talked about the consistency. So creating that consistency from one client to the next, it just makes it so much easier for you, for your team, and your clients too, because they're getting a well-oiled process at the end of the day after you've run through it a few times, and it lets you do things faster, it's more efficient, and gives, again, that better overall experience. So creating that consistent plan, that consistent process for all of your leads to onboard to clients is so key. And then, of course, I have to say it as a best practice, automate it. So I think, again, another fear people have is they think when we say automate it that it's the whole thing and you're completely hands off and you don't touch anything and you don't know where it's at in the process. That's not the case either. You don't have to automate A to Z. Sometimes it might be A and B are automated, C maybe isn't, but you have a way of tracking it, and then maybe, Y and Z are automated. So the point is you can have certain pieces automated and personalized. There's certain things that maybe you have a stronger touch on. So maybe you do have a meeting with your clients. That piece you can't automate, at least for now, a one-on-one meeting. And so those are the types of things that you still have that personal touch and you don't have to do it all. And honestly, even when you're new to it, if there's just certain pieces of it that you do automate, that's still great. Let me give you one example of that. So let's say you have an application, a form that you want your leads to fill out. So they fill it out And right away, when they fill it out, they get an email thanking them for completing that form and letting them know of the next steps. That's just, one brief little thing that you can do that gets it to them fast. It makes them feel, okay, I'm really clear about what's happening here, and they got it. So I know that they received it, and here's what's going to happen next. That's one thing. So imagine there's a lot more you can do, but the impact of that one thing is fantastic. And then the last one here is documenting it. So I know that's not always the most fun. When I was in the corporate world, this was a project I worked on with all of our teams, all of our accountants, where we had to go through and document every process with lots of procedures. And it was not fun for many of the teams, but it was so helpful because one, documenting things is when you figure out what's working and what's not and where you have gaps. And it is so huge when you do have a new team member, or maybe you're growing, maybe people are shifting, whatever it is. So, or someone's out sick. So anyone can pick it up and know, okay, here's what's happening. Here's where we're at in the process. Here's what I need to do. And it's really crystal clear. So again, whether or not you choose to use TaxDome for any of your onboarding, documenting that process, super critical. Who's doing what, where it's being done, what's automated, what's not, all of that. We are going to create that consistent plan before we document it. We're going to keep it personalized, and we're going to automate as much of it as we can, or as much as you feel comfortable with, without sacrificing the personal touch. Okay. So one of the things that we wanted to share with you are what we call the core 6. These are the 6 milestones that you want to have, or may want to have, when you are onboarding a lead to a client. And so the cool thing about this is, if you are familiar with TaxDome, these are your stages. So milestones are, stages. Those are kind of your big chunks of things that you're going to accomplish. And you can put those into TaxDome. So it's really clear to see, like, okay, this is where this leads at. This is where this leads at. And so again, if you are familiar with TaxDome, I want you to think of that in terms of these are each stages. And if you are not familiar with TaxDome, these are your core milestones that ultimately will go into TaxDome as a stage. So these are the 6 stages, again, that you'll probably want to have when you're onboarding your clients. We do have a nice little freebie for you guys that will, and I'll show you a little bit of it in a little bit, but basically it's going to show you, here are your stages, and here are the core automations that are actually happening in each of these stages as well. And when I say automations, it might say hold a client meeting. Well, you're not automating the client meeting, but that is considered an automation or a task that you'll have in there as well. So here are your 6. Your lead kickoff. We're going to start things the right way with our leads. We want them to feel like they are the center of the universe. We're going to give them super clear instructions on here's what you need to do. Here's how we can work together. All of those next steps. Once they have all of those, if you have a form for them to complete, they can then go into this place this next stage where you can review that application or that form. So when you're reviewing that initial application or form, this is where you get to determine, do you want to move forward with this lead or do you not? So you have that place where you are doing some of that qualifying and making sure that they're a good fit and that you think that you should move forward. If you determine that it is, great, let's move them into a discovery call. So in this is where you can automate things like sending out an email invite with a link to, a Zoom call that they can schedule with you. And you're holding that session and you're getting all the information that you need to help give a price or just decide whether or not you guys are a good fit. Once you have that discovery call, then let's go ahead and we're going to use one of our pre-created proposals. Maybe there's some editing you need to do if there's anything custom. So you can send that out as well as an engagement letter and really get that ball rolling, because once they sign that engagement letter, we're good to go. Once they do sign that, that's where we're going to move them over to this client welcome. And we can do this with a really personalized, super clear, automated email where we let them know, hey, here's what's happening next. If you need more information from them, you can send them another questionnaire to help collect some of that core information. You're going to let them know everything that's happening next, whether there's another call with you or whether you need them to fill out this form. Whatever it is, you're going to really automate that process, but make it super clear about what those next steps are. Once you have everything you need from them, they have everything they need from you, your onboarding is complete and you are good to start, whether it is, monthly work or whether they're holding off till tax season, whatever it is. This is where you can then transition them to the ongoing work. So you might be thinking, that's great. I like these steps. I like the idea of this, but what the heck do I do with it? So when it comes to being actually using TaxDome, using a system, this is the exact process that we use for building our own and working with all of our clients to build theirs. So the first thing you want to do is take a current state inventory of your process. Whether that means you're writing it down, bullet pointing it out, identifying what do you already have. Do you have certain proposals or contracts that you like? Are you sending, maybe a kickoff email? Whatever the case may be, documenting what that is right now so you can help to identify like, oh, I don't like that. That's not working. Or yeah, this is great. I want to make sure I keep using that. You can use all of that to then move into number 2, where you're actually designing what you want it to look like. We actually use a Google spreadsheet for all of our clients where we track, here's all the stages and here's all the automations that we are going to utilize to make sure that we accomplish what we need to and get all the automation in there too. So again, I'll show you that in a second, but once you've designed that out, this is where we're going to then start transitioning into TaxDome. And the first thing that we like to do when we have a new pipeline, a new workflow we're creating, is we like to get in there and we like to create the shell. The shell meaning we're going to set up our settings in there and we're going to create the stages, so those core milestones, and get those all set up so then we can start visualizing, okay, here's what it's actually going to look like. Once we have that in there, that's when we go and we start to build out our automation templates. So these are going to be all of the emails that we want to send out, then all the tasks that we want to do, any chats or messages. What are all the tasks that we need? So we'll then start to create all of those templates. We'll pull in our proposal, we'll pull in our engagement letter or contract and get them all built out in the template inside TaxDome. Highly recommend keeping a consistent naming for these so they're really easy for you to find, that they're specific to, for example, your onboarding process. That way it doesn't get just messy amongst everything else that's in there. So having a really clear naming strategy, whether it's like, called onboarding kickoff email, something along those lines to really help you identify it. Once we have all those in there, we're going to pull them into the pipeline, and then we're going to do the most important part, which is testing it. So we always create a fake test account. It'll just be an internal email. We'll call it test account, and we will go in and we're going to add a job into the pipeline where we just go through it. We pretend we are the employee doing it. And then we also look on the client side as the test account and make sure everything is going through appropriately there. So it's a great tool to be able to identify what's working or if there's any issues with what you've created. So when I get to the demo in a second, I'm going to show you this piece if you aren't already familiar with it. One of the cool tools within TaxDome is the ability to have clients sign up and self-service, meaning they will basically hit a button and they'll be able to kickstart that automation right away. It's really great because that way you can actually get them into your pipeline, moving along, and have a bunch of things accomplished before you even have to touch it, which I think is great. And you can really get that ball rolling to move things quickly. So we'll set that up, make sure that's all turned on, and then finally the last step here is making sure that clients have access to that sign up. So whether it's on your website, your email signature, or something you send out to leads potentially, they have that link so it's really easy for them to go in, self-service, and get started in the pipeline. So we'll show you a lot of these things in a second here, but this is really the step-by-step process that we take every single time we build a pipeline in TaxDome for ourselves or for our clients. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears now because I do want to show you a couple of core things inside and outside of TaxDome. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is that Google Sheet that I mentioned that we use to design our workflow. So this is going to have the core stages and then where we'll build out all the automations and all the things that we want to do so that it's really easy to visualize what it's going to look like before we actually spend time building it. And this is where we'll move things around and whatnot. Then I'm going to show you our lead onboarding pipeline. It may or may not look exactly like the spreadsheet that we have, but that way you can get a feel for how the stages might work. And then I'm going to show you also that lead self-service sign up so you can get comfortable knowing, okay, this is how they can just go in and get it done on their own. So let's pull up those couple of things and check those out. And just so you know, like, we're showing you how you can do this yourselves. We're going to give you, here are the stages and here are those core automations so that you can use that and pull up your TaxDome and get started on it. But we know that that may not necessarily be something that you're interested in doing right now. That's okay. We will come back and share in a little bit just what some of those different options are so that you don't feel like you have to go through and do all of this on your own necessarily or come up with all your templates, etc. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but let's go ahead and switch gears and move over to our Google Sheet. Okay, so here it is. This is actually a live-ish version of a client one that we're working on with, there's no discernible information on here, but wanted to give you a real life example of what our process looks like, because we will, for our clients that we build it for, we'll build this custom. So this is kind of what you would be doing on your own as well. And you're welcome to, utilize a process just like this. But basically what we'll do is we'll identify on the left-hand side here, what are the things that need to happen on, outside of the pipeline before this even begins. And then each of these is going to be a different stage. This might look a little bit different than what we had looked at the example on, but again, this is a live client one that we've really customized for her. And the stages will be at the top, and then we have all of the automations, all the things that are happening in that stage down here. I will say this is still a work in progress, so it may not end up just like this. We haven't tested it yet. We haven't built it yet, so there may be some changes, and that's okay because this is really just a working document that helps us keep organized and helps us to put the puzzles together. You'll also notice where we have the auto move, whether it's on or not off, and there's certain reasons why we may have it on or off in different places as well. So again, we've got our stages, we have our core automations that we're going to put in here. We're going to identify, this situation right here. We also have a place we'll typically throw any notes. If there's anything we want to just really think about, then we'll come, use those and then come back to this and again, just rearrange. So love using this tool, and we often share it with clients as kind of a draft or work through it, or Ashley and I will work through it, and it's kind of that working document. So let's pause and go over now to what that looks like inside of TaxDome. Okay, so again, this might look a little bit different than the other ones we've seen, but this is the idea where we have our different stages, our lead intake, our application review, our sales or discovery call. So we have all the things that we need here from a stage perspective that are going to give us an idea of where we're at in the process so that we can have a good visual, especially as a business owner at a higher level. Okay, they're sitting in this send proposal. That means we haven't sent the proposal yet, but we already had our sales call. And we've already reviewed their application. So it does give you that high level view of where they're at. And then you can see just the various different automations that you can throw in there as well to make sure that that process has a mixture of things that are automated where, we might have an email that goes out right away to say thanks for your application. And then we have other things that are going to be more internally driven. So these tasks where we have to hold the sales call, we need to update the proposal, it's for a custom one, for example. So this is where you can really start to see that picture kind of put together from this over here where we have the draft. And again, they're not the same, but you get the idea, to then where we're going to actually put it into our pipeline inside of TaxDome and really to help you streamline that process. It's just a great tool. I can't say that enough. So last thing I wanted to show you was the self-service option inside TaxDome so that clients can do this on their own. So you'll see, I'll move my face here, this in the firm settings area, or the settings where the client sign up is. And so this is something that needs to be turned on because depending on how your clients come into you, they'll have a link and you'll want to make sure that you send them to the right place. So this one's a little bit different because we were actually using this to help us hire, but this is where you can customize this question and you can say something like, I'm interested in, in working with you. And then you're going to have them go straight into, we do have a lot here, but let's say we're going to put them straight into, where to go, our lead onboarding. And then we do have, we'll want to make sure that we have a job template that you've created as well. And then we're going to save it. And that means when they have that link, this is here in the firm settings, you can pull up your portal URL and you can send that out, and it's going to have them fill out their information, create the account, and it's going to put them straight into that pipeline. So love using that tool for sure. Okay, so I know this is a lot, so just a couple key takeaways, then I'm going to hand it to Ashley, and she's going to share some additional really cool tools as well. So automation doesn't have to remove the personalization of your process. It really, really doesn't. There's a lot of tools inside TaxDome to help you with that, and you are still there, and you are present, and you are giving your time and attention to these leads and eventually clients. You don't have to automate absolutely everything. You can just automate certain key parts. You can start with what you already have, and then just continue to make it better. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Just start somewhere, and you can continue to fine tune it. And then remember why this is so important. It gives your clients such a better experience, your team a better experience. It saves you time, it saves you money. You're going to have less errors, and you can onboard leads faster. So definitely a really, really great tool that you can utilize to do all of those things. And this is just in one space. We're just talking about leads to clients right here. There's so many other spaces you can do the same thing. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ashley so she can talk to you about some really cool things that we think will really help you as you are navigating this. And then don't forget also, I'm going to include the information so you can grab that free download for you. That's going to give you the stages and then the core automations that we have used to build out the onboarding process as well.
Thanks, Katie. So as Katie mentioned, it's really important to think about the why it is so important to build this lead onboarding plan out. So she talked a little bit about all of the savings, and this industry has a lot of peaks in our workload. So whether you are a CPA, you focus mostly on tax preparation, or you're a bookkeeper, or all of the above, there's a lot of, peaks in our work. So there's a lot of deadlines. We have to crunch that work into a short period. And during those times, it can be really hard to take on new leads and new clients. Yet at the same time, that's important for the health and longevity of our business. So it is so important to have this. If you take nothing else away, start looking at your process now. Don't wait on this. Take a look at, we've given you kind of the outline of what this can look like. So start with something small and build upon that. And I did want to share with you today, there is another way if that still feels intimidating to you, or you would like a shortcut to get this done quicker, there is another option that we wanted to share with you. So Katie and I have a monthly membership called the Tax Tech Collective, and this is a really great place for accountants to come together, and is primarily focused on TaxDome, but we do talk about other items related to an accountant's business. But within this membership, you can actually get the templates. So we talked about the outline today, but you can get the templates to use in your business, including the copy. So all of the email language, message language, task language that you can copy paste. And we have a video on it. We lay it out for you. So it can make this process a lot quicker. So we did want to share that with you. So if you join the Tax Tech Collective membership, what does that look like? What does that include? So there is a weekly drip TaxDome course that has training videos and it has pipeline templates. So I mentioned there is a lead onboarding template where, again, copy paste everything in, make it really quick for you. But it's not just the lead onboarding. So when the templates are dripped out to you, it includes all kinds of other templates for pipelines you can do in TaxDome. So this could be tax prep, it could be bookkeeping, it could be 1099 process, it could be sales tax, payroll, all of the different processes you might have in your business, and then even some other ones like team member onboarding. So we get kind of creative in there and give you a lot of ways that you can build out those pipelines and give you the templates for every single one of those. So this goes way beyond just your lead onboarding template to make this process much quicker for you. So we also include things like advanced trainings. There, we bring a lot of industry best practices, checklists, toolkits. And I think one of the things that we've heard is the most beneficial beyond having the templates themselves is weekly live Q&A or training calls. So every week, besides a couple holiday weeks in the year, you're going to get live access to Katie or myself. And so sometimes we bring specific training topics. Sometimes it's just live Q&A where we give you a chance to walk through your questions. And this has been a really great place for people to bring the templates. So, okay, this is my process, but I need to customize something that's unique for my business. And we help you do that. We can give you suggestions. We can walk through, give you ideas on how to do that and what to do in your process. Or we can just answer your general questions if you're stuck on something or want to know how something works. You can come to these sessions and do that. And not only do we have these live sessions, we do record those if you're not able to make them, but we also have a private community for networking, questions, sharing ideas. So if you have a question and you don't want to wait for that weekly call, you can post them in the community and get input at a minimum from Katie and myself, but other members in the community have also shared some really great ideas as well. So one of the other things I wanted to share about this membership is if you're familiar with TaxDome, you know that they come out with a lot of updates, which is wonderful. They are on top of their software. They're listening to their customer base. They are constantly upgrading and putting new features out there, which is great, but it can also be a little bit hard to keep up with. So included in our membership, every month when TaxDome releases their new updates for the month, we break those out for you. We tell you exactly what those are, and we have really short, quick videos on each of the topics to help you understand very quickly, what is this update? How does it affect me? How might it affect what I already have out there? And or how can I use this? So it's not just build your templates and then be done. It's an ongoing process. And we value this at over $10,000. So I wanted to give you a little peek inside if you're wondering, okay, what does this membership look like? You say membership, but what does that really mean? And so we use a platform called School, and I wanted to give you a little peek inside here. So there's a couple places at the top. It's really easy to navigate. There is the classroom here, and this is where you're going to find the courses, if you will. This will be a lot of the training videos and templates included in here. So we break out a template library. If you're just like, give me the templates, I don't want all the other stuff, you can find those here. And then we also have the course, which gives you videos on some different topics within TaxDome to really help you over time understand the software and become an expert in it, or just use it enough that you can use it in your business. We have advanced trainings in there as well as basic, so you can kind of get from it what you need. And then we have the feature updates, which I mentioned, as well as some bonuses that you can earn by participating in the community. So this right here is just like a little snippet on the right of the TaxDome Accelerator course. It's broken out into different modules, and each week it's an entire module set that is released, not just one video. And you can see some of the topics here. We break out really the navigation inside TaxDome, some of the basics, how to really understand the system. You can skip over that if you feel like you've got that down. And then it's all about setting up accounts, the pipelines, really utilizing those features and automations, making sure you're getting the most out of TaxDome. The templates, diving into more of team management. If you have a team, how to add clients and manage your clients within there. And like we said, the advanced trainings. So there's also the community. It kind of looks like Facebook here, you can see. we like it better than Facebook. You don't have all the sponsored content and ads and all of that. And it's really focused for our industry and this community. We have a couple pinned here at the top. You can see as we update new features. If the TaxDome has a feature release, we'll make sure we let you know about it so you can see that that's been updated. And you can also, any member in the community can post here. You can post your question and you will always get a response from Katie or myself, and others can chime in as well. This here is the calendar. So this is where you can see where the live trainings are, what times they are. And we try to do times that may work with different time zones. If you ever have requests on this, you can always let us know. But you can see there's some live Q&As as well as some of the trainings. This particular month, we had done a training all about Zapier, using Zapier to automate parts of your business. So sometimes it covered TaxDome itself, but also expanding on that outside of TaxDome. And then this one here was a deep dive on organizers. So really going into how you get the most out of organizers, the conditional logic, how to really build those out in the best way. So we like to give a mix of new training topics, but also just help to make sure we're helping you customize, answering your questions, etc. So lastly, I mentioned you can earn points. You can earn some of those bonuses. So by posting things, engaging, getting, likes on your posts or your responses, you can earn points and you can level up to different levels here. And we have a leaderboard that you can track. So it kind of gamifies the process, which I always find makes it a little bit fun. And if you don't want to participate in it, that's okay too. You can be there for the classroom and the comments and questions. So for this membership, as I mentioned, everything that we bring here is a $10,000 value. The current price of this membership is $97 a month. The beauty is you can cancel anytime. There's no long-term commitments. We're not locking you into this for a year. You can come and go as you please. If you feel like you've gotten enough, you're welcome to leave. If you want to stick around and keep learning and understanding the new things that are coming out and stay on top of everything, you can stay for as long as you would like. We'd love to have you there. So it is normally $97 a month, but as part of this workshop, we do have a code for you. It's workshop 30. You can see here on the screen, and that will get you 30% off the lifetime of your membership. So it would be $67.90 every month, and that's for the lifetime. It's not just the first month and then it goes to the 97. If you use that code, it locks you in at that price and you can keep going on in the membership at that price. So we would love to have you in there. Here is a QR code. If you pull out your phone camera and circle it over this QR code, click on the link, or you can type it into your browser directly, cabotandmaine.com/taxtechcollective. And we hope to see you there. We have some really exciting trainings and other things coming up. We're releasing new templates all the time. So if you want to maximize your TaxDome, you want to get that lead onboarding pipeline in there, maybe along with some other ones, this is a great place to be and will help make it happen a whole lot quicker. So thank you for joining today.